So listen, I come from a big Italian family from Long Island. They're really wonderful people, but they don't know theater at all. They're not in the arts. They're not in entertainment in any way. And so when I told my very beautiful, very big family when I was a kid that the thing I wanted to do with my life was to write musical theater, they were understandably they were confused. They were surprised. They were terrified, horrified, all of those things. And for the first few years of me being sort of, a writer in the American musical theater, it was really hard for them. They didn't understand what any of it meant. I would say things like, "Oh my gosh, the most amazing thing happened. My song was accepted into this night of songs by new musical theater writers in this, in this basement theater that holds 20 people on the East Side." And my mom would be like, "That's amazing. How much does it pay?" And I would be like, "Nothing. In fact, it will cost me lots and lots of money to do this." And it was really hard for them to understand what success meant. And so when in the world of theater, it's hard for a lot of us to understand what success means in the world of theater. And the Larson grant that I very happily and luckily won was the first time that my family, my parents in particular, could go to an event. It was at Sardi's, and they were able to sit in Sardi's, and they were able to see these very sort of fancy-looking people and people who they knew, people who they had seen in musicals, say that what I was doing was worth a damn. And so while I am eternally grateful that the Larson grant came with money that allowed me to pay my rent and feed myself and buy pretty bow ties that I didn't know how to tie, I am most grateful that it was a pat on the back, and a pat on the back at a time in my life when I sorely needed it, and when I think most artists sorely need it, when they're starting their career, when they're in the middle of their career, or the end of their career. So thank you, Larson family and the Larson grant for that. I am eternally grateful for what you did for me. It's the greatest thing in the whole world. So I'm so honored for that. And beyond that, I was always someone who loved musicals. I was obsessed with Rent, and it wasn't until recently that I realized just how influenced I had been in my life by Jonathan Larson and by his writing. I became really enamored with the Jonathan Larson Project, that show at 54 Below, that I think everyone got a CD of, and it's that show is this collection of Jonathan Larson songs that had never been heard before. And when I heard those songs, I realized that Jonathan was not just an idea. I realized he wasn't someone in a history book as a great writer of American musical theater. He was an actual dude. He was a man who was just trying to do what so many of us in this room are trying to do, make a life in the theater. And it made me realize that the stuff that he was doing, the stuff that he was writing about, his mission was to put stories on the stage that normally don't get told. He was writing musicals where he centered the story on human beings who normally don't get stories centered on them in anything, but least of all in musical theater. And he was populating his musical theater work with people who looked like normal folks, people who probably would identify as misfits or weirdos or freaks or geeks. And I realized that's literally what I have been trying to do for the last 12 years of my writing career. And so I say thank you to Jonathan Larson and to his family and to this really incredible group of people who are here tonight. I'm so honored to be part of the legacy. And now we're going to do a song from a new musical of mine. We go into rehearsals in a few weeks. I should be home writing right now and not on a stage talking to all of you. But the musical is called Love in Hate Nation, and it's a romance between two girls set in a juvie hall for girls in 1962. And it's about how these young women in this juvie hall in 62 kind of learn how to be the revolutionaries of tomorrow. And it is very much in the spirit of populating a musical with people who might identify as misfits or weirdos or freaks, people who feel like they don't normally get to see themselves as the center of a piece of musical theater. And it's going to be performed by the cast who's going to do it at Two River Theater in Red Bank, New Jersey next month. So please put your hands together for the very poorly behaved, mischievous, rambunctious cast of Love and Hate Nation.
I'm supposed supposed to act the way they want me to act, but I don't want to act that way. So, revolution in the institution. Won't be told whose hand I can hold or which words I'm allowed to say. No, revolution in the institution. If I'm heading to the battle zone, I don't wanna go alone. Take a stand, hold my hand.
Been this way since I was a girl in a dress with a frilly bow. Revolution in the institution. Revolution in the institution. Play with Barbie, they yelled, play with Barbie, but I wanted G.I. Joe. Revolution in the institution. Revolution in the institution. Learn to cook, learn to clean, learn to breathe. Skills I do not necessarily need. No! Revolution in the institution. Revolution in the institution. If I'm headed to the battle zone, I don't wanna go alone. See the crowd, take it down. Hey!
I'm supposed to dress the way they want me to dress, but I got other dresses in mind.